U.S. Navy's Ghost Fleet inside the Autonomous Warships patrolling the Pacific. The future on the high seas for the Navy may be one without sailors. Unmanned ships like the USS Mariner and Ranger, and the recently launched USX-1 Defiant, are opening up a world that gives the Navy and other branches incredible capabilities on the water, no seamen necessary. This quest for drone warships began in earnest in 2010 under the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency's, DARPA, Anti-Submarine Warfare Continuous Trail Unmanned Vessel, Active, program. The aim, as the name indicates, was to develop a boat that could follow submarines around the world without requiring a manned ship. The program produced a 132-foot trimaran-hulled boat called Sea Hunter, which launched in 2016. During early testing off San Diego, Sea Hunter demonstrated continuous autonomous operation for over 5,000 nautical miles, with Navy observers tracking its performance. DARPA confirmed it could operate for 90 days without refueling. With those successes in hand, the Navy pushed ahead and launched Seahawk in 2021, a refined and updated version of Sea Hunter. 210420 NA818-1177 San Diego, April 20, 2021. The medium displacement unmanned surface vessels Seahawk, Front, and Sea Hunter launch for the U.S. Pacific Fleet's Unmanned Systems Integrated Battle Problem 21, UXS-IBP-21, April 20th. UXS-IBP-21 integrates manned and unmanned capabilities into operational scenarios to generate war-fighting advantages. U.S. Navy photo by Mass Communications Specialist 2nd Class Thomas Gooley. Seahawk, Front, and Sea Hunter launch for the U.S. Pacific Fleet's Unmanned Systems Integrated Battle Problem 21, April 20, 2021. Navy photo by Mass Communications Specialist 2nd Class Thomas Gooley. While these sub-hunting unmanned surface vessels, USV, were developed in tandem with DARPA, the Navy began adapting those lessons into the USS Ranger and USS Mariner, launched in 2021. These vessels, converted from commercial support ships, became the backbone of the Navy's uncrewed ambitions. Since then, they've logged thousands of autonomous nautical miles, fired live missiles, and even conducted resupply missions at sea, all without a sailor on deck. Those vessels, and now many others of varying sizes, are what make up the Ghost Fleet Overlord program, which began in 2018. The idea behind the program is to use USVs to perform missions that are too dull, dangerous, or dirty for crewed ships. Think not just resupply at sea, but long-endurance surveillance, electronic warfare, mine detection, disaster response, or even as target ships. Top stories this week. Top Air Force enlisted leader apologizes for uniform slip-up. Jeff Skogel. South Korea tours will now be a year longer as Army cuts down on moves. Patty Nyeberg. Tech and Tactics. Brutality over precision. What the Army is learning from Russia in Ukraine. Kyle Gunn. But even the most capable Ghost Fleet ships are still based on traditional hulls. They retain doors, walkways, compartments, and all the other features designed to support human life. Features that take up space, add complexity, and limit endurance. That's where NOMARS, or the No Manning Required Ship program from DARPA, comes in. NOMARS sought to design a ship from the keel up without a single human in mind. No hatchways, no gyms, no fancy officer wardrooms or enlisted berthings. The first iteration, dubbed the USX-1 Defiant, is 180 feet long and weighs in at 240 tons of nothing but purpose-built testbed for uncrewed operations. Built by Serco and launched in March 2025 in Washington State, Defiant is currently undergoing sea trials. It draws from the same core autonomy and redundancy systems as Ranger and Mariner, but without the burden of human access or survivability requirements. Its deck is reportedly optimized for containerized systems, potentially allowing it to carry surveillance gear, electronic warfare payloads, cargo modules, or vertical launch systems. While Defiant and Seahawk patrol the surface, unmanned underwater vehicles, UUV, are prowling the depths. Leading the pack is DARPA's Manta Ray, a glider-like submersible designed to hibernate on the ocean floor until it's needed. It can carry modular payloads for surveillance, communications relay, environmental monitoring, and more without needing a ship to deploy it. Port Hueneme, California, March 2024. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, Manta Ray Uncrewed Undersea Vehicle, UUV, prototype, completed full-scale, in-water testing in the Naval Base Ventura County, NBVC, Point Mugu Sea Range, March 2024. NBVC is a strategically located naval installation composed of 3 operating facilities: Point Mugu, Port Hueneme, and San Nicolas Island. NBVC is the home of the Pacific Seabees, West Coast E-2D Hawkeyes, 3 warfare centers, and 110 tenants. Photo courtesy of Northrop Grumman. Manta Ray Uncrewed Undersea Vehicle, UUV, prototype, completed full-scale, in-water testing in the Naval Base Ventura County, NBVC, Point Mugu Sea Range, March 2024. Photo courtesy of Northrop Grumman. The Navy is also developing the Orca XL UUV with Boeing to handle missions like ISR, mine warfare, and even strike, and it has revived the Snakehead UUV program after canceling it in 2022. 2 of the Navy's Ghost Fleet unmanned surface vessel prototypes pulled into Yokosuka, Japan, this week as part of a Pacific Road show to introduce the fleet to the possibility of USVs, service officials said on Thursday. USVs Mariner and Ranger and the Staff Unmanned Surface Vessel Division 1, USDIV-1, left California last month and sailed to Hawaii as part of a wide-ranging testing program for the Navy's future USV fleet, Commander Jeremiah Daly told reporters in a phone interview from Japan. The service believes unmanned or optionally manned vessels will be key to how the Navy's surface fleet will operate in the future by extending the awareness and deepening the magazines of manned ships, Daly said. The ability to turn one surface action group of 3 destroyers and a certain number of USVs and convert them into 3 surface action groups covering 3 or 4 or 5 times more space is a game changer, he said. Mariner and Ranger are technology demonstrators for the Navy's large USV. The service is set to finalize requirements for the first LUSV by the end of the year and wants to have 9 under contract by fiscal year 2028, USNI News reported earlier this year. The LUSV will be capable of weeks-long deployments and transoceanic transits and operate aggregated with carrier strike groups, CSGs, amphibious ready groups, ARGs, surface action groups, SAGs, and individual manned combatants, reads the Navy's FY 2024 budget documents. USV Mariner on August 23, 2022. USNI News photo. Enhancing manned vessels with more weapons and more sensors is a key component of the emerging Distributed Maritime Operations (DMO) concept that expands the connections between ships. DMO gives us the ability to mass fires under the principles of expanded maneuver, and that has been enabled by our ability to disaggregate sensor, shooter, and platform to be able to achieve massive fires on particular centers of gravity, while dispersing and operating formations more dynamically, U.S. Pacific Fleet Commander Admiral Sam Papero told reporters last month. The deployment of the Ghost Fleet ships and the smaller Seahawk and Sea Hunter USVs are testing how to make the broader concepts work in the real world. Nothing can replace being out in the field, Daly said.